Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh. Call Holum Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and shalom to the elect that's out there teaching and preaching this truth and truth and sincerity. This is the brother Tazayar coming through the spirit and power of Rikakwarash, and I pray that this be an edifying lesson out there to the hopeful elect, man. And without further ado, the topic at hand, was going into, the collapse of the quote unquote black family. You know what I mean? That's that we see today in America. And, really those are the curses that Yahweh Shem Shai had put on us because, we decided to go against the law, statutes, and the commandments of the Heavenly Father. So he allowed our enemies to rule over us. And, our enemies, they came up with a devised plan to separate us from being a unit and to cast us away to so that the name of Israel may be no more again. So without further ado, I'm gonna start at Psalms chapter 83, and I'm gonna start at 1. A song, or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, which is a loud noise, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. So that's what they did, man. They took crafty counsel against the nation of Israel. All right. And one thing they did was they used our book against us to enslave us into the Christianity doctrine, when in actuality we are the true Hebrew Israelites who the Bible actually speaks of, man. They turned it into a religion, our heritage into a religion. Verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And that's exactly what they did, man. They whipped and they beat and they brainwashed us to believing in their lie, man. To believing in their dream, the American dream. Okay, when we came over here, which some of us was already over here. Of course, the Northern Kingdom was here already, but I'm talking about the Southern Kingdom. Okay, when they came over here on them slave cargo ships, man, they got little movies like Uncle Tom's Cabin or Kunta Kinte, Roots, where, it showed you how he said his name was Kunta and they beat him until he confessed his name to be Toby. Okay. So they knew who we were as a people, and they showed us directly in our face how they indoctrinated us into becoming who we are today. This is Micah chapter 2, and I'm going to start at 1. And it reads, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. So even in their beds, they was consorting, plotting, coming up with ways to bring us down and to execute us, not only in our physical, but also in our spiritual and our mental. On their beds, man, they was thinking of these things. It says, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. So they get up, they make these legislations, they make these laws, to oppress our people, man. The so-called Negros, Afro Americans, which is actually the tribe of Judah, the Levites, the Benjamites, which is actually today the so-called Jamaicans and the Haitians. And and it shows, man, the Northern Kingdom as well is being punished. Don't get me wrong, But right now, more so focused on the topic of the Southern Kingdom, because all around the world, our people in the Americas is known as being slaves. And when all these different nations come to the Americas, they are able to look at us and say these are the slaves that the Edomites had. Okay, and they still remember that history, and they look at us with a wandering eye, like, how is it that these people haven't rebelled yet? How is it that these people haven't taken up arms and tried to attack their oppressors, man? Which, us in the truth, we understand that that's not our lot right now. That Yahweh Shem Shai said, vengeance is his. So we're going to wait on our Lord. We're not going to partake in carnality, because the scripture says what? That we should go out as sheep. And he said, therefore, be ye wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So we're not coming here with a militant group, posting our military might, showing people that we got guns and stuff like that. That's not what we're doing. We're coming in the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and we're proclaiming the words of the scriptures. And that's our job right now, until the Lord give us another role that's to come in the near future, because the elect is going to take part in bringing down this devil and his system, man. Not only just by the prophecies of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the words, but also by the physical attributes of it as well, but only when the Lord comes back. So yeah, till then we're waiting. But verse 2, it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. And so basically these people, they came together, man. They sought this land in the Americas, when the so-called Gadite, not so-called, but the Gadites was here, which would be the so-called Native American Indians, the Latinos, and so forth. When they came over here, it was already the Indians and the Latinos inhabiting this land, and they slaughtered them and took this land by force, man. All right. It says, and they covet fields and they take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. And today, the modern way of oppressing us by our house is giving too much liberty to our women to be able to oppress us by our oppressor. Okay. So now they have given the power to put their husband on file divorce against their husband, or get them locked up, due to the same people who's been oppressing us this whole time, man. They're giving them certain liberties to try to destroy us as a household, so that we won't stick together, and so that we may be divided against one another. And now, instead of us being one whole, we're looking at each other as opposites, as enemies. So this was a cunning devised trap that the devil has set up to try to destroy our people, because at one point in time, our people stood up against the police and the Ku Klux Klan and other national Edomite societies that was to oppose our neighborhoods. And then they brought in tactics and ways to divide us, man. All right. It says, verse 3, therefore, thus saith Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your neck, neither shall ye go haughtily, for the time is evil. And so, yeah, these people, they're thinking that they're going to get away with the oppression and the things that they've set up to destroy us as a nation, our heritage, our people as a family. And Yahweh Shem Yahushai is saying that he's going to exact revenge for us, man. That he's going to come down here and he's going to put his foot on the necks of our enemies. All right. And another way that they oppress us is by the book of this is Isaiah chapter 10 and 1, by their legislations, their laws, the things that they set up to basically destroy us through their system. Because you can be a law abiding so-called black man, Latino man, Native American man, but the moment you probably get with the wrong woman, she can put you on child support, and due to her putting you on child support, she can actually get you locked up if you're not able to pay for the amount of money that the court systems has set up to for you to pay child support to your child. So if something happened to you, like you might lose your job, or the court has the power to take away your license, so now you can't even drive, or do all sorts of different things to oppress you due to the seed that you've had with a woman who was born in a very unsafe society, which is putting her into the survival mode that she's in, man. You know, and this is the oppression of our people. This is Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1, and it reads, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless." And that's what they've done, man. They've made our women their prey, and they're robbing the fatherless, which is, so-called black, Latinos, and Native American little boys, man, growing up in a world without a father or a father figure. And, Jake just growing up, and they're looking at what's around them, and what's around them is not even set up for them to succeed. What's around them is set up for them to be uh, ensnared in a trap to make them niggas instead of men. And so you got a lot of women asking, like, where's the men to stand up and fight for us, and to defend us, and to keep us safe, and things of this sort. But here it is, the devil, he created a system where he took the man out of the household. So now that young boy is growing up under his mother's vibration, and under his mother's vibration is the vibration of feminism. Okay, she's a feminine woman, and all of them emotional traits that a young man has is because he didn't have a stern hand to teach him how to be a man as he was coming up. So he grows up very emotional in his feelings, and everything that he does is an attack on his own people, because he don't know how to control his emotions, or why he even have uh the feelings that he has. He don't even know how to manage himself as a man. And this is where we see all the Pookies and the Ray Rays in our society destroying our neighborhoods. But yet at the same time, these are the same men that our women are promoting, that our women actually are dating, that our women actually want to have children with. They don't want to have children with the man that's trying to be a man of the Lord and do the right thing. They want to have children by a nigga that looks at the world from a niggerly way, and now he's gonna raise his children up and incorporate them. He's not even gonna raise his children up. Actually, a lot of them is gonna leave the household, man, and they're not gonna. He's not gonna be a active father in his children's life, man. And that's how this system is designed. All right, you know. And it takes more than just a decade or 20 years to get over 400 years of oppression and slavery and trauma, which is now something that our people are starting to realize. But because it's been passed down, it's called generational trauma. It's been passed down from generation to generation to generation, man. All right. And only the ones that Yahweh Shem Yahushua has woken up is going to be able to pull themselves up out of that and use the scriptures for hope. All right. It says, I got another precept, and this is this is basically hearkening to the point where I was saying that the Lord put us in this situation because we was a disobedient nation. So he allowed our enemies to have to rule over us. And this is why this is happening now today. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it reads, "And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth." And that's really where we're supposed to be. The so-called blacks, the so-called Latinos, the so-called Native American Indians, we're actually supposed to be rulers of the world. But we didn't hearken into the words of the Lord. So uh Deuteronomy 28:15 says this, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." So, our people are always talking about generational curses, and it actually was because we strayed away from our creator and we started worshiping false idols and false deities and false philosophies, and we didn't come back to the Lord and who created us, who made us as great as we are. We forsook him and started giving praises to other idols as if they made us like this, man. And that made our God very jealous, and so he allowed our oppressor to have to rule over us. And I'm gonna go into it. This is Deuteronomy 28, and I'm gonna start at I'm gonna start at mm, I'm gonna start at 36, and it reads, "The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead thee." It says, "Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shalt gather but little in it, for the locust shall consume it." And these people are like locusts, man. Right now, Babylon, America is a consumer country. So all it does is consume. So this place within itself is like a big ass locust amongst all the other countries, man. And that's why all the other countries are in debt, because this country is sucking the life out of the whole world, man. Okay, all the natural resources, the air is polluted, the water is uh polluted, the earth itself is polluted, man. All due to this wicked ruler ruling the earth, man. It says, I'm gonna skip down verse 41. "Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity." And that's exactly what they did, man. You know, a holiday, Black Friday, is coming up, and Black Friday was about them gifting one another gifts of so-called Negroes, little children, man, to their children. You know what I'm saying? Selling them for dirt cheap on the auction block, man. You know? And the Lord said that. He said we wasn't going to enjoy our children because when we had children back then, they'll snatch our children away from us and go sell them off to another family. You know? Verse, I'm going to go down. I'm going to start at 48. And it reads, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. Yet the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. And who did that, man? Who brought us over here on slave cargo ships and didn't show any regard to the old or to the young, man? Who brought us over here and had us in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness, man? See, the scriptures already prophesied these things, man. The Lord told us that these curses was going to fall upon us, but the thing about it is, um, it was all our fault, man. We started going off and serving other idols and other gods, and the Most High got jealous, and He casted us away from Him like a jealous husband would do to an adulterous wife, man. He divorced us. He casted us away and kicked us out His home, man. And the coming of Yahweh Shai was so that we could actually come back into His good graces by the sacrifice of the Lord, man, because He was that unblemished lamb. Okay. Verse 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee neither corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kin or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. So basically, he was going to come, he was going to put a yoke of iron on our neck. And if you actually look up the definition yoke of iron, you're going to see a so-called Negro with a yoke of iron around his neck. And there's no other nation that we know of in this world that has had a yoke of iron on their neck, and that's as publicized as the so-called Negroes. Okay? Which goes to show you that prophecy has been speaking for some time now. And it's just not now that we're actually all waking up to it and seeing that the Lord actually kept His word, because He is not a God that He shall lie, man. And it was all because of the transgressions of our people that we had to serve under this devil, man. And it was also to make us appreciate the love that he always gave us back in the day, man. Okay, because He always fought for us against our enemies, and He always provided for us, man. And we just kept on breaking His heart, so he had to do away with us so we can know how it felt to be without Him. You know. But this is the point. Verse 28 and 54 says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. And that right there is the whole breakdown of a man not having a pleasant eye towards his own brother, towards his own kin, towards his own neighbor, and he having an evil eye towards him. So now they become enemies, and even towards the woman, his wife of his bosom. He become an enemy of her, and he also become an enemy of his children, and he actually will leave them, which is actually a saying or a proverb when it comes to black African Americans. Deadbeat fathers. Like, we always Papa was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he go, wherever he lay his hat, what's his home? Like that was a proverb amongst our people, man. But it was all systematically created so we wouldn't be a one whole. All right. And reading down verse 56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which will not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and towards her daughter. And then now, you know, you got the mothers who the women that's more so pro abortion, man. And abortion was only created so we wouldn't overly multiply against our enemy, just like in the days of Egypt. Cause they don't want to see us, they don't want to see us overtake them, because they are already afraid of us, just due to our fear, just due to our physical physiques. But a lot of us running around and being united as one, it'll put fear in this devil's heart. So he created a system where it would be hard for a father to be a father to his children, or a mother to be a mother to her children, because now both of the parents, they got to work jobs. So now it's you leaving your children to go into the education system to teach them how to be trained slaves instead of teaching them critical thinking. Okay, they put our children in them education systems because it was meant to enslave our minds, so we wouldn't have a free wave of thinking. You know what I'm saying? To make us obedient. And even when you leave school, it's the same things they teach you in the world. You know, you got an office job. You know, you got to raise your head. You got to speak a certain way. You got to stay in your cubicle for a certain amount of hours, and then you got to and then when you get off, you do it all over again the next day for a pay of wage to live in this society, which goes to show you that they was training us since we was children how to be slaves, man. Okay? It says 57, and toward her young one that cometh from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the sage and straightness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh thy power. And that's what we didn't do. So the Lord allowed our enemies to have the opportunity to rule over us in a very harsh and cruel way, man. You know? And only those of us who know the prophecies, who the Lord has put his spirit on, can see that, man. And so now you got all these lost and confused as so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians running around, not knowing who they is, not respecting their father and their mothers or anything, because they was only raised in a single parent household for the majority of them. And if a father was in the household, he was always at work, trying to provide for the household. Or, the mother, she never really respected the father. So, it bred the ideal of a weak man being in the house versus a man that's actually a man in the household. So still, the young men still don't have a real proper example on being a father. And then there's a very short and few amount of men that is men in their households, and they are actual fathers and proper husbands to their wives, man. But they're few in between, man. There's a very small percentage of that, man. You know, and this devil has set that up to where today's marriages can't stand, because there's social engineering us to believe that we have so many options of different individuals who we can entertain or be with, instead of coming together and working it out for the family structure to be a whole. And that's what we're seeing today. So it's like, you're getting to a commitment with a person, and it's like they'll try you on like you an outfit, like a new pair of socks or a pair of underwear. And if they don't like the fit, they just take you off and cast you to the side. And then they find someone else who they think might be a better fit for them, man. And that's not how it's supposed to be. That's adultery, man. But in this society, this is what is promoted. So of course, the ideal and the mentality of this world is against the Heavenly Fathers, and we will never be able to stand together as one, because the ideal of this world has been conditioned into the minds of our people. And the more this kingdom continue to go, the more worse the situations it is for our family structures and for us all coming together as a nation. It'll never be unless Yahweh Shem Shai is behind us and he's holding our hands and he's guiding us in this thing. But more so until he bring down this wicked rule that we're standing in at this current moment, man. And I'm gonna finish reading this, and I'm gonna let it go. This is uh this is Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. Because the Lord said that what he was going to reverse the curses and that he was going to put them on our enemies. Once we all woke up and once we all started serving him as our power. And this is Deuteronomy chapter 30, and I'm gonna start at 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, because the Lord already knew that he was going to curse us, because he already knew we was going to fall short of the law, statutes, and the commandments, because we're in this flesh. He says, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, rather the Lord God have driven thee. So basically, in the land of our captivity, we was going to remember who we were, and we were going to remember what the Lord said to us concerning his laws, statutes, and his commandments. Now, furthermore, it goes on, it says, verse 2, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether Yahweh thy power have scattered thee. So that's what he said he's going to do, man. He says, if any of thine be driven out unto the utmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. So it don't matter where we at on the planet Earth, from the scattering of all the captivities that we've been through, the Most High said he's going to come and he's going to gather us, right? Verse 5, and Yahweh thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, because we lost our inheritance, we lost our land, right? And thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And that's the kingdom of heaven that's to come. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed to love the Yahweh thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And how we know that's talking about the kingdom, because in the kingdom, all of us is going to have one mind towards serving the Lord, man. And we're never going to sin again. And that's what he means. He's saying we're never going to sin again, because he's going to circumcise our hearts to loving him the way we're supposed to. All right. Verse 7, and the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voices of the Lord and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And that's what the future is looking like. All right. The Lord is going to set us back up on high, and the Lord is going to reverse them curses that was on us, and he's going to put them on our enemies. And it's actually already happening, because you're starting to see that a lot of Edomite women, so-called white women, they don't even like white men. So-called white men, they like black men. You see all these Asians and all these Arab women starting to like so-called black men. or Latino men or Native American men. They don't even like their own nation of men like they once used to. All right. So you're starting to see the curses being reversed. Because at one point in time, if you dealt with a so-called Edomite woman, the Edomite man will put you to death for dealing with her. And now we're in a society where the Lord is allowing us to conquer them by their women the same way that they conquered us by our women. The curses is being reversed. Instead of seeing our fathers on the streets strung out on drugs off of heroin and crack and stuff like that, when we was having an epidemic, we're starting to see their people strung out on drugs, on crack, on all type of pills and things like that, man. So the Lord is slowly but surely, gradually turning the curses off of us because our people are starting to wake up and he's starting to put them upon our enemies now, man. And so with that, man, I want to give all praises, glory, worship, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakurash. This has been the explaining or the breaking down of why our nation as a people has been divided and split up and what's to come in the near future, because we will be ruling real soon, man. As soon as the Lord do away with this kingdom, we're going to be the next ones up in the kingdom of heaven, man. And that's going to be on earth. All right. So with that, man, I want to give all praise, glory, worship again to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to the elect that's out there teaching, preaching this truth with truth and sincerity. Shalom.